I heard a strange noise coming from my supposedly empty house. Empty, a clear sense of someone's presence, and eerie creaks from the floorboards. Seems like someone is upstairs. Fearing it might be an intruder, I carefully headed up the stairs without making a sound. For some reason, clothes were strewn across the hallway, forming a trail leading to the master bedroom.
Andrew!
I'm Kimberly! Auntie!
At that moment, a familiar voice rang out from the room. It was a whispering conversation that sounded downright joyous.
Is it okay saying no to my mother-in-law and doing this?
I do spend time with Kimberly than deal with some old lady.
I'll stop it, you.
Peeking through the slightly open door, I was at a loss for words. My husband and daughter-in-law were lying on the bed, embracing each other. The atmosphere was sweet, as if they were lovers.
I'm so happy to have a daughter-in-law like Kimberly.
We should pay some attention to your mother-in-law too, shouldn't we?
She's good for housekeeping, that's about it. She's not capable much else.
But the two, laughing while bad-mouthing me, probably never suspected they were being watched. I couldn't contain the anger boiling up from the pit of my stomach. I'll make them regret doing something so disgraceful in the marital bedroom in broad daylight. My name is Hannah. I've been a nursing assistant at a hospital for years. The workdays are hectic, but I take pride in my job and find interacting with patients enjoyable. I met Andrew when he was admitted to the hospital. After dating, we married in our 20s. I heard stories about nurses or caregivers dating patients, but never thought it would happen to me. It didn't take long for me to marry Andrew, who's dependable and kind-hearted. We had a son, and we've been living happily as a family of 3 without any major issues. Our oldest son, Nicholas, excels academically and has grown up to be very kind to others. We may be doting parents, but he has always been and still is our pride and joy. After graduating from college, Nicholas landed a job at a well-known corporation. His performance and work ethic earned him high praise. Nicholas, it's great you're working hard, but are you taking any time for yourself? Don't push yourself too hard when you're not feeling well. Dad? Mom, don't worry about me. I have some exciting news for both of you soon. Look forward to it. Nicholas said this with a bright smile, easing the worries of Andrew and me. We wondered what the exciting news could be, and one day Nicholas brought home a girlfriend. This is Kimberly. We've been dating for a few years. I'm thinking of marrying her. Hearing this, Andrew and I felt a mix of surprise and overwhelming joy, though part of us was a bit sad knowing we can't be with Nicholas forever. We believed he made a great choice in Kimberly. She was polite and friendly to us, leaving a good impression. Fast forward 6 months. Nicholas got married. We met Kimberly's parents and relatives for the first time at the wedding. They were all kind people. Kimberly's mother even exchanged contact information with us. Feel free to reach out anytime. Let's help each other, she said, which was comforting. We still keep in touch with Kimberly's family, and we sometimes have meals at each other's homes. Our family life seemed smooth sailing, with a son married and a good relationship with the in-laws. Yet something did bother me. Kimberly was frequently visiting our home. We had all decided not to live together, but she kept popping up. Is she bored because she's a housewife, or is she just being mindful because she's family now? Kimberly, you don't have to go out of your way to visit. You're family to us, whether you come often or not. When I said this, Kimberly tilted her head. I'm not going out of my way. I enjoy coming here, so it's fine. Her cheery response made me give an awkward smile back. To be honest, I still see Kimberly more as a guest than family. Feeling mentally drained from someone overstaying their welcome is only natural, I guess. But my unease with Kimberly went beyond that. She seemed to find excuses to take Andrew out with her. First, it was for grocery shopping, then clothes shopping, and next a movie. I value my holidays with Andrew more than anything, so it's frustrating when Kimberly just swoops in and takes over. I'm sorry, mother-in-law. I'll take father-in-law with me, okay? Seeing Kimberly's smug smile when we go out irritates me. What is she trying to compete with me for? The fact that Andrew listens to Kimberly more than spending time with me is also a problem. Hey, could you not hang out with Kimberly so much? You're just her father-in-law, you know? Isn't it a bit too friendly? I get that it's important to collaborate, but is it even possible for them to be close enough to go out, just the two of them? Being too friendly could also create weird perceptions from those around them. I tell Andrew this as a word of caution, but he just laughs it off. Oh, hi. I'm just building a good relationship with my daughter-in-law. Don't worry. I get that, but isn't it a bit too frequent? Kimberly comes over every 2 or 3 days, and if Andrew is off, they go out all day or hang out after work if not. Even as his wife. I don't go out that frequently. Kimberly is trying to get along with us. It would be rude not to reciprocate. I'm genuinely concerned, but Andrew only gives me casual answers and is not taking this seriously. Andrew looks young for his age and is in good shape, so it's hard to shake the feeling that Kimberly may see him as a romantic interest. Well, if that's not the case, she'll eventually get bored hanging out with Andrew. That was my optimistic thinking, but contrary to my expectations, their relationship grew even closer. I returned home from work to find Andrew, who was supposed to be off today, wasn't home. I tried calling and texting, but no response. I didn't even know if he'd be home for dinner, so I just made his portion anyway. Several hours later, just as the day was about to end, Andrew finally returned home. Except to my surprise, Kimberly was with him. Andrew, where have you been? Was Kimberly with you? I was worried because I couldn't reach you.
Oh, we went on a little trip.
A trip? With who?
Kimberly. We went far. Why was ever deafened?
Shockingly, Andrew and Kimberly had gone on a day trip from morning to late night. Learning that they had ventured out of state, just the two of them left me completely baffled. The fact that he went on a trip with Kimberly without even asking for my consent and ignored my calls while enjoying himself infuriated me. What were you thinking? It's absolutely thoughtless of you to go on a day trip alone with your daughter-in-law.
Don't get some on. There's nothing shady going on. That's why we came back, right?
You expect me to know that? Ignoring my messages, you've got some nerve showing up like this. Anger and pent-up frustrations erupt, aimed squarely at Andrew. I suppose I've been jealous of Kimberly. We haven't gone on a trip, just the two of us, in years. Andrew has never even suggested it, and yet he's okay with casually going on a day trip with Kimberly. That irks me.
My father-in-law is just trying to be nice to me.
Kimberly defends Andrew, tears filling her eyes. Why am I being made out to be the villain?
Kimberly, it's late.
No, you stay here. I'll take her home. I push Andrew aside and decide to take Kimberly home myself. I don't want her alone with my husband anymore. Their house is about a 30-minute drive from ours. It'll be awkward between Kimberly and me, but it can't be helped. Driving along the quiet night road, Kimberly suddenly breaks the silence.
You're just jealous because Andrew and I get along, aren't you?
I feel anger bubbling up, but fighting now will only make me the bad guy again. I take a deep breath and answer as calmly as I can. If that's how you feel, why do you go off alone with Andrew?
Well, because Andrew is cool. I want to spend more time with him.
You're clueless about how lonely Nicholas feels, aren't you? If you have time to hang out with my husband, focus on your own. I've heard complaints from Nicholas as well. Lately, he hasn't been spending much time with Kimberly, and they haven't been doing the things newlyweds do. I couldn't tell him she's been seeing Andrew frequently. I want to avoid causing more tension in the family because of Kimberly. But Nicholas is just not exciting. He's too nice, lacks any edge. Being around Andrew helps me get along with Nicholas too, you know? Has she forgotten she's talking to her mother-in-law? Her words are so brazenly disrespectful, it's unbelievable. After dropping off Kimberly, I went home without even seeing Nicholas. I had no idea what kind of expression to put on my face when meeting him. Then something big happens. One day, I got an invitation to have a dinner party at my in-laws' house, and I meet Kimberly's parents about once a month under the guise of having a dinner party. Since we exchanged contact information, we've become closer quite quickly, so I happily accepted the invitation. Chinquines and Kimberly will be joining as well. I also invited Andrew, but he didn't give me a positive response. He said he has urgent work matters to attend to, as the dinner is scheduled for a holiday afternoon. Turns out, he's not going out with Kimberly, so I give a sigh of relief. After Andrew leaves the house, I make sure the door is locked and then head out myself. My in-laws' house isn't far away, and it's easily accessible by a single train ride. However, upon arriving at the station, I realized I had forgotten to bring a gift for my in-laws. I still had time, so I hurried back home to get it. As I unlocked the door and entered, I heard voices coming from the supposedly empty house. The unmistakable presence of someone and the creepy creaking of the floorboards. Someone appeared to be upstairs. Fearing an intruder, I cautiously made my way up to the second floor, making sure to be quiet. Clothes were scattered in the hallway, serving as a trail leading to the bedroom I share with Andrew. At that moment, I heard familiar voices coming from inside the room. Whispers filled the room, suggesting a secretive, joyful conversation. Is it okay to refuse your mother-in-law's invitation and do this? I'd rather be doing this with you, Emberly, than hanging out with some old folks. Oh, stop it, you. I peeked through the slightly ajar door and was at a loss for words. Andrew and Kimberly were lying on the bed, partially undressed and embracing. I'm so happy to have a daughter-in-law like you. Oh, Kim Surly. We should pay attention to my mother-in-law too, or it's just cruel. She's fine just being the housekeeper. What else can she do? She's not good for anything other than housework. As they laughed and badmouthed me, they didn't suspect for a second that I was watching. I couldn't contain the anger that welled up from deep within me. I'm going to make them regret what they did in our bedroom in broad daylight. But before entering the room, I dialed Kimberly's mother's cell phone. After it connected, I switched it to video call and bravely stormed into the bedroom. "Ow, you two are up to something, aren't you?" Startled, without hesitation, I broadcasted the scene to my in-laws' house where they were likely prepping for the dinner party. "So this is why you two are unusually close. Oh, no wonder why you couldn't tell the truth. What should we do about these two in-law family?" Realizing she was being recorded, Emberly let out a piercing scream. "Are you introducing yourself? You're the one doing something dirty and perverse with my husband." Kimberly twisted her face in frustration and ran towards the clothes I'd gathered. She intended to grab the clothes and escape, but as I continued showing their antics to my in-laws' house, I threw the clothes out of the bedroom window. It's windy today, and the clothes flew a good distance, but I couldn't care less.
On the other end of the phone, shouts ring out, "What is going on?"
Emberly, what's the meaning of this? And then, at Kimberly, "Dad, what is going on?" Nicholas, who had arrived at my in-laws' house earlier, had also seen their disgraceful actions. Asked in a voice colder than I'd ever heard. Nicholas murmured, "I'm coming over now. Stay right there. If you run, be prepared." It was a voice filled with rage. Unlike the Nicholas we knew, Andrew and Kimberly seemed too drained to even consider running, standing there in their naked shame. Soon enough, Nicholas and Kimberly's parents arrived at the house. When led to the bedroom, Andrew and Kimberly were still sitting shocked.
Since when have you two been like this? Have you been deceiving me and our parents all along?
When Nicholas pressed for answers, Andrew and Kimberly started talking, not caring who spoke first. They admitted their affair began shortly after Nicholas and Kimberly got married. Andrew felt a thrill, growing more and more infatuated with the young and attractive Kimberly compared to his older wife. And Kimberly, on the other hand, was drawn to Andrew, who was more experienced and reliable than Nicholas, who was kind but somehow lacking. However, we couldn't possibly understand their reasoning. Despite a 30-year age difference and the fact that both were married and even related, we felt disgusted by their reckless actions. Nicholas, Kimberly's parents, and I came to a decision after discussing the situation.
"I'm divorcing Kimberly and cutting ties with Dad," Nicholas said.
"I'm also breaking up with Andrew," I added. Nicholas and I decided to divorce our respective spouses and sue them for damages for their affairs. Kimberly's parents agreed, stating that their daughter should bear the responsibility for her actions. It was probably an indefensible situation, even in my eyes. I felt ashamed and humiliated by my husband's actions. However, the moment they heard the words divorce and damages, Andrew and Kimberly did something unimaginable. They began blaming each other for the mess. "It's Kimberly's fault. She seduced me into this." "No, it's Andrew. He thought I couldn't resist because I'm the daughter-in-law." What a surprise. The reason for the relationship, adultery, was mutual. It was an ugly struggle, not unlike the sweet words they had whispered to each other earlier. They seemed to think that proving one was less at fault could lower or eliminate the damages. But sadly for them, neither Nicholas nor I was fooled by such a farce. Nicholas, particularly incensed by being betrayed by his own father and wife, sternly rebuked them. Pointing fingers won't solve anything. If you knew what was wrong, you should have had the willpower to stop. Shifting the blame just reveals your own lack of integrity. Nicholas calmly chastised them both. Neither Andrew nor Kimberly had anything to say. They just bowed their heads in shame. Afterwards, Nicholas and I proceeded with the divorce and sued them for damages. Fortunately, Kimberly's mother had recorded that video call, which served as compelling evidence. Andrew wanted to reconcile, but I had no intentions of doing so. You spoke ill of me so happily, and now you want to come back. You just don't want to pay the damages. I accused.
That was just lip service when the basta dries. I truly love only you, he claimed.
Truly decent people don't go out of their way to cheat. Oh, you know. I'm so disappointed in you. Injure you. Spending my golden years with someone like you. No way. I finally put my foot down, and Andrew seemed to give up slowly. Nicholas seems to be relentlessly pursued by Kimberly, wanting to mend things, but he doesn't seem willing to forgive her. When normally kind people get angry, apologies don't cut it. Maybe Kimberly learned that the hard way. I also apologized to Kimberly's parents, but they kindly said it's not our fault. It's the individuals involved who are responsible. Setting Andrew and Kimberly aside, I feel blessed to have met such good people. After divorcing Andrew, I moved out and started living in an apartment. I thought I'd be lonely without my longtime husband, but it felt refreshing. Nicholas felt the same. He looked happier after breaking up with Kimberly. After our divorce, rumors started circulating at Andrew's workplace that he had an affair with his daughter-in-law. Now even his coworkers look at him with suspicion. But to make things worse, although he still wants to work, he's been pushed into a less significant role because of his bad behavior. Not only did he lose his wife and son, but he's also lost hope, spending his days vacantly typing on his keyboard. Kimberly has paid a heavy price too. She's estranged from her family, and even relatives who know about the divorce keep their distance. Although she's in her 30s, she's never had a stable job. She seems to be struggling in a part-time role she barely managed to secure. Rumor has it she's now broke and looks like a shadow of her former self, after cutting ties with both. Nicholas focused on his job and achieved more. He's now moving to the company's branch in Paris. I'm so proud of my son's success. I'll miss Nicholas, but I want to support his life journey wholeheartedly. I'm still working as a nursing assistant. Colleagues who found out about my later-in-life divorce were very supportive, even treating me to meals as a celebration. There are surprisingly many divorces around me, and everyone encouraged me, saying you'll be fine. I'm truly happy surrounded by kind people. Living alone has taught me the joy of indulging myself with good food and leisurely weekends. I used to spend more time on Andrew than on myself, so pampering myself like this actually feels good. Sure, it would be more fun with a partner, but I'm quite content hanging out with friends and Nicholas. The thought of how to live from now on excites me to no end.